Welcome back, brothers, tourists, and ladies, to another edition of The Chapter House, the Old Glory Club's look into the men and chapters that make up the Old Glory Club. Joining us this week is the Founders Garden chapter out of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, something that I'm sure our Wisconsin brothers would love to take back, but I'd like to see them try. And joining us to represent the Founders Garden is Josiah. How are you, sir?
I am doing quite well.
Well, that's great to hear. It's way better than bad, which, I could understand why people would say that these days, but no one does. So, that's great. My dude. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, on the topic of being bad, I am uniquely blessed in that I live hundreds of miles from any problems.
Oh man, I'm just glad to hear that there are still places in this country where that can be done. There's
still Indians here, though.
What's that?
There are still too many Indians here, though.
Oh, of course. I mean, anywhere on, until we find an answer to the Indian Fraga, we're always going to have that. We're always going to be able to say that. So what Founders Garden? Tell me about the name.
Well, the very, very simple version is that we are headquartered in the Garden Peninsula. The Garden Peninsula juts down into Lake Michigan. It is the most temperate part of the UP. It is by agriculture zones. I don't know much about agricultural zones, but my wife does. My wife assures me that it's a half zone warmer than the rest of the UP.
Huh. So the Upper Peninsula, because it's got so many different, touching so many lakes, it looks like it does touch Lake Huron as well, huh?
Yes, it does. Yep.
Interesting. So yeah, it touches 3 of the Great Lakes, and it gets that big a difference in weather, huh?
Yes, because much of the peninsula is dominated by Lake Superior's weather. We're dominated much more by Lake Michigan's weather because we're a peninsula that juts into Lake Michigan.
Interesting. That's very cool. I mean, I've never spent any time thinking about the Upper Peninsula, but some of the conversation we had before the show has me thinking about it a lot more already. So you guys are no longer have the honor of being the newest chapter. That honor belongs to a chapter we just recently voted on, whose name I can no longer remember. Forgive me if you are watching this. But you guys are very, very recent. And tell me, how did you guys get together?
Well, I have been... I don't want to pat myself on the back too much, but this is mostly something that I have personally pushed for, because the people I brought in are not internet people. Most of them are people who have very little to no political activity online. So none of them even know about stuff like this. So, but I've been in these spaces since 2016-ish. Just always a lurker, rarely even a super chatter. Mostly I work a lot. I download podcasts onto my phone and listen to them well afterwards. And that's been basically my activity for most of the last 10 years. But we did go to the Shieldings event, my wife and I, and we saw the Old Glory Club being founded at the Shieldings event that we were at. And when I went home, I told my group that I was thinking about doing a chapter, but due to various reasons, it took 2 years before we actually got around to doing it because, well, group is very busy and I am a terrible procrastinator.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of those things that characterizes a lot of people who have busy lives, especially if you're working all the time. So how did you know these guys before you got involved in the OGC?
Well, we used to live down in the Lower Peninsula. When COVID started, we bought land up here. Like just before COVID restrictions went in is when we bought the land. And then when COVID restrictions were eased, we moved up to the Upper Peninsula. And there, we ran across some people who are running a home church. And they were highly interested in our activity. Well, I'll say that we bought a huge amount of land, 1,480 acres of
That's a good amount of
completely
land.
undeveloped land. It is about 70% unusable wetland, but still 30% usable dry land is hundreds of acres.
Well, at least
Um,
you'll never want for water. So you met a home church. What does that mean?
they're a group of families that meet at their homes for church.
Oh, okay. So they just hold the church out of their homes rather than like congregating in a building.
Yes, it's a mixture of ex-Mennonites and related types, but it's an eclectic smattering of random Christians. We're very non-denominational in that we have ex-Pentecostals, ex-Baptists, current Catholics, all attending.
Interesting. So you have current Catholics attending a kind of.
Basically, they'll come after their service to come visit us.
Oh, that's great. So what's it like in your little corner of paradise? What's the Upper Peninsula like? If you could describe it to us. I mean, I know it is actually fairly large.
Yeah. If do you like pine trees and water?
Who doesn't?
Well, that's if you like that, you like it, and because that's about all we have. Lots and lots of trees, lots and lots of water. Very little that isn't trees and water.
So what I'm getting is that there are still relatively few people on the Upper Peninsula.
Very much so. Our very biggest city, which is also a literal hellhole because all big cities are, is still only around 100,000 people.
What is the biggest city on the Upper Peninsula?
Marquette.
Marquette. Oh, that's up. It's like dead center, right on Lake Superior.
Yep.
So what's the Upper Peninsula like for diversity? Have you guys been smacked big time with a huge influx of invaders?
Not really. I don't know the exact stats, but if based on who I see on a day-to-day basis, I would vaguely state that it's probably about like 80, 85% white, probably 10% Native American, and 5-10% other.
Interesting. So how does the culture of a place like that manifest?
Well, the UP is famously suspicious of the government. This is a very clannish lot, especially where we live in the Garden Peninsula. The Garden Peninsula actually was the highest crime part of the UP until very recently. And then weed was legalized and all the crime vanished because all the crimes are weed related. Garden, Garden is actually internationally known for its weed, but the local industry can't compete with the big guys, so it's basically dried up. Or so I've heard. I am completely uninvolved in all that. I just hear rumors from people who get involved with the hoi polloi more than we do.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys are pretty remote out there. Do you get a chance to get around to the? I mean, we have this issue, and this isn't an OGC issue. It's an organization issue where places are more sparsely populated. There tend to be fewer people interested in getting involved in things, especially because changes come to those areas much more slowly. Um,
Yes. My group is based as the OGC. It's basically I've taken some people who are slightly more based than the average normies, and I am guiding them in the correct direction before the issues arise.
Now that's forward thinking. I mean, it's great to hear that these guys are mostly not online. You know, the online space is fun for shit posting and memes and for getting your jollies. But for the most part, it's a good way to waste your time and not really get anything done. While it's a surrogate activity, as our patron saint Uncle Ted would say. So these guys not being online, I mean, what do you guys have? Like, I imagine that you bring this together, these guys together. You want to get involved in doing things in the real world. Tell me your vision for the Founders Garden.
So we have, I guess, short-term, low-level vision and long-term, high-level vision. The long-term, high-level vision actually came first. I have a dream, a moderately selfish dream of I want to build a town on my property so that when I'm old, I don't have to leave.
I mean, that's base. That's the American dream right there.
So, I have 4 kids, which is a start of a town. We're going to be building them houses and they can live there. My parents live with me, so we will get something of a town, but I want other people. So, and the problem is that I'm an unsociable guy who spends his time inside reading weird books and visiting esoteric internet forums.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, this is a very unstandard psychological profile for these spaces.
Right, you're really outside the norm.
But the issue with that is that means that I don't really meet that many people who I can invite to say, hey, come to my undeveloped land and build a town with me. That's not very saleable. But my parents met the Longs and the Weavers at a church function. And when my parents mentioned the Longs and the Weavers that we had this land and were looking to one day develop it, they got super excited because they have had dreams of doing something similar, and so invited us to their home church. So we're active in the local churches. We just meet at our own home church. So
are the Longs and the Weavers, are you referring to families that you know personally, or are these people that names that I should recognize?
These are the majority of our membership are Longs and Weavers and Welches.
Are these like really common names in the Upper Peninsula?
I don't think so. I think both of them moved here. The Weavers are ex-Mennonites. They are the least online, especially their page. About what Amos Weaver has to say, it mostly has to do with having steel tires on your tractors as opposed to rubber tires on your tractors. Though that's mostly him complaining about the incredibly arcane list of ridiculous rules layered upon rules that stifles that community. However, the Mennonites are similar to the Amish in that they are a pacifist, low church Protestant Anabaptist sect. They're not quite as far as the Amish for eschewing technology, but they still have heavy limitations on technology, which is less like the Amish no tractor and more like you can't have this type of tractor, and you can't have rubber wheels. You have to have steel wheels that are then retrofitted to be rubber wheels, but aren't really rubber wheels because rubber wheels are wrong for some reason. The problem is that there's what? Oh, I was going to say, summarize. The problem with my understanding of the Mennonite community is a lot of it comes from a person who is upset at them.
I'm sorry. It comes from a person who's upset with the Mennonite community. No, that makes sense. Yeah, when I think of the Mennonites, because we get them to out in New England, we get them to build a lot of barns. The Amish too, but the Mennonites will show up with like nail guns. So they're the Amish that use nail guns. But no, that's interesting. So I mean, what causes? I mean, I know this isn't your confessional heritage, and I'm kind of asking you for gossip about the guys within your club. But one of the most interesting things whenever anybody's, whenever we talk about the Founders Garden, we're like, oh, we got a bunch of ex-Mennonites that broke away and founded a chapter. Like, what's the story with them breaking off? Did they start in the Upper Peninsula, or did they move there?
They moved there. I think it's as simple as he had a falling out with his family, and he chafed against the increasingly ridiculous rules and felt that God was leading him here, and he just like followed the will of the Holy Spirit, is how he would put it, and ended up here. Which a lot of the people in our group are basically people who have followed the will of the Holy Spirit to end up here. We have a lot of semi-mystic types who are listening to what God has to say and do that. And they all ended up here together.
Well, I mean, amen. That's a wonderful little story there. So you're talking about how you kind of, you want to build a town on this massive property that you've purchased. I suspect that I might be looking at it right now on Google Maps, but we'll talk about that afterwards.
Oh,
Is there anything that kind of like that the state, like, is Michigan a state that would be amenable to you like breaking up your property into lots for your children and for other people, or is there like a
what I would do is I probably wouldn't break up the lots. I would make the property into being owned by a company and sell shares of the company, and then the shares would correspond to lots rather than breaking it up into lots, because I don't want people to be able to buy it and then sell it. I want people to be able to buy it and live there, but if they sell it, they can only sell it back to the estate, not to people on their own.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I like, so the state is friendly to the legal mechanisms that allow you to do something like that? I'm
not entirely sure. I am not a lawyer. All I know is that a lot of times, especially up here, you can just do things and wait for the government to maybe find out.
No, I suppose that makes sense, especially in a place, that, as you say, is mostly pine trees, that they kind of leave you alone up there. Now,
I'm thinking that once we get enough people where it will be a problem, we'll have enough people to make it not a problem.
That's a good philosophy. I like that. So, you came from, you said, further south in Michigan. You're from like Michigan proper?
Yes. So I am the oldest of 10 children. My parents moved around a massive amount, mostly in the Lower Peninsula, but it was something insane. Like they moved like 30 odd times during my life. So it's hard to say that I am from any particular place. Part of the reasons why I wanted to buy this massive millstone of an undeveloped swampland is as a way of saying, this is where we stay. This is where the Welches are going to put down their anchor and not move anymore.
All right. Yeah, that's again, that's a super like classic American thing where there, from a time when there was land where you could do that pretty much anywhere. I'm glad that you were able to find a place to sink your boots in, even if it's muddy.
Yes, and the way everything lined up for this is one of those things where my philosophy is that when it's the will of God, it's also the path of least resistance. When when everything just sort of falls into place so that it just lines up perfect in its minimum effort, then that's a sign that the will of God is leading you in that direction. Because in this land, we were looking around for land, and my dad grew up in the UP and always wanted to move back. We were wanting to move out west because closer to where my wife came from, but he kept recommending the UP, and we were looking at places in Idaho, and the property values were enormous and constantly going up. And we looked in the UP, and the property values were minuscule. And just at the time when we were looking at it, my wife's wealthy uncle died and left her enough money for a down payment on the property.
Well, how about that? Like you said, the will of God. He just kind of pushes you where you need to go. So you said your father is from there originally?
He grew up near Escanaba, and then family drama, and the family had to sell the farm and move down south.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Nobody likes family drama, but I mean, it seems like it all, it comes full circle in the end. So what's
Indeed.
You're looking to you're raising your 4 kids there. You're hoping they're going to stay. Now, a lot of the modern issues with rural living is that a lot of people say there's nothing for kids to do. There's nothing for them. There's nowhere for them to get work once they become a little bit older. Is this something that? Yeah, go ahead.
So as far as work goes, my father and I have a electrical company. So we're just going to have them work for us.
So you're not just going to build a town, but you're going to build like an entire fiefdom that the town is kind of based around.
In order to build a town, you need construction. So actually step 1 is construction company. Step 0 is electrical company. Step 1 is construction company. And then you can actually build a town and get paid while doing it. Otherwise, well, me on my own, I am too lazy to build a town in my free time, except in Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean, that's not code for anything. That's literally Minecraft. No, I mean, it sounds like you've got I mean, even if the plan is more, I mean, I don't know how deep into it, if you've gamed all of it out and run the numbers and all that kind of stuff, but this seems like a plan that you're actually moving on. How does
unfortunately, as far as like plans, I am less of a plans guy and more of a I will do it and it will work guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pioneer spirit, right? You can't really plan for the unknown, not in any meaningful way. And when you're kind of striking out to do something like that, it makes a lot of sense that you have that mentality. So how do the rest of the Founders Garden like kind of fit into this this larger vision of literally building a parallel society in every sense of the word?
Well, we met them in part because they were interested in this vision. So in the though their visions aren't exactly the same as mine. The Weavers are primarily interested in agriculture, especially what's the word? Regenerative, sustainable, that sort of agriculture, and feeding the world. As well as they really worry about old people who are left in nursing homes without family. So they just have more general charitable vibes, but are highly interested in move and working with us for the town, because in part they like the idea of a community where we will grow a lot of our own food, and where it's a walkable community as opposed to a drivable, because a walkable community is a lot nicer for, old people to retire into. So that's the Weaver's specific interest. As of now, most of the activities that the quote unquote chapter does is the Weavers engaging in lots of small scale charity around the peninsula.
Well, that's wonderful. Now you say "quote unquote" chapter. I mean, you guys are a chapter. You have the charter.
But what I'm saying is that they don't advertise it as chapter work. It's just they're in the chapter and they're doing the work.
Of course, and that's you're not. We're not looking to get our name out there and recruit, right? We're just a bunch of guys trying to get together to actually get things done. So it's that's good to hear as well.
So I guess one of the things is that my chapter in many ways is backwards of a lot of OGC chapters, because when I understand, most OGC chapters start online and then move into the real world, whereas my chapter is real world, and I'm trying to I'm not trying to move them online, I'm trying to organize them. Because, well, it's a disorganized group who, being made up of like ex-Mennonite types, have a soft anti-organization stance. They dislike organization, but unfortunately organization is necessary. So I'm kind of trying to Pied Piper sway them into being an organization as opposed to just people doing things.
Yeah, no, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. It's kind of walking this fine line, because we want every chapter to be involved in the national scene in some way. That doesn't mean that you guys have to put in effort to do things that have anything to do with the nation at large. You should stick local. You should stay with your people. But the idea is to get everyone in the club nationally to see everyone else in the club as part of their people.
I will state this. They remember the Hurricane Helene?
Yes.
The Longs and the Weavers independently, just on their own, drove down there to help.
Oh, that is
before we were a chapter. So they absolutely will be willing to help. In fact, one of the ways that I sold them on the club in the first place is to say that the OGC would provide charity opportunities for them.
Oh, that's excellent. What you're describing here is a chapter that has all of its priorities in line, and like you say, you're trying to get them together so that, as a part of this larger national network, they'll have more opportunities to express these callings that they have to help their neighbors. I absolutely love to hear it. Has there been any? I don't know what will we see you guys next week?
Yes, it will be me and either my secretary, Mr. Long, who is he's older than me. He is the most quote unquote based of the group, even more so than my own dad, oddly enough. But his health isn't super great, so he's iffy about making the trip. So if he can't make it, then it'll be a younger man from my group who I'll be mentoring.
Well, I mean, this kind of sounds like the ideal chapter right here. At least in my estimation, that you guys are much more interested in doing things locally. Now, like you say, they're trying to take a lot of the people in the chapter have a kind of a soft spot for the elderly. Are there a lot of older folks up in the Upper Peninsula?
I don't know about in the Upper Peninsula as a whole. I know that the Garden Peninsula specifically has a lot of older folks who live there because it's, in some ways, it's a mixture of weed growing and retirement is basically the Garden Peninsula.
So you've got like, I mean, it's legal there, right?
Yes, but it becoming legal destroyed the peninsula's economy.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense if it was all illegal grow ops. I mean, if you're talking about people who aren't fond of the government, and like you mentioned earlier, like people just kind of do things and the government gets to you or it doesn't. That kind of sounds like an ideal place. Like, you know, a lot of people talk about the northwestern corner as being kind of like a big readout for our people, but I mean, a place like the Upper Peninsula kind of sounds like it's got that plus access to major waterways.
Yes. The one issue is that we, of course, are utterly dominated by Lansing. But we're also completely forgotten about by Lansing. And most people in general just forget we're here. In the sense that very few people pay attention to the Upper Peninsula existing at all.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the reference to Lansing, Michigan. Is that, I mean, that's the capital?
That's the capital. Yeah, that's the capital of Michigan. I'm saying that's the state government is technically dominant over us to a massive degree because, well, the Lower Peninsula's population is tiny, and the Upper Peninsula's population is tiny, and the Lower Peninsula's population is massive. So basically, one of the really big complaints of locals around here is the state government doesn't pay it, only ever is negative to them, and usually ignores them, but occasionally comes in and causes trouble. The state government is not popular here.
I mean, where is the state government popular? But in any state. But no, I catch your meaning. Can you? I mean, I'm just curious. What are some of the ways that the state government has kind of poked the Upper Peninsula in the eye?
I couldn't tell you anything recently. The problem is that I have aggressively not paid attention to day-to-day politics around here. It's more the impressions that I'm getting from people who pay more attention and complain at me. It's the vibes of people who complain that I'm reporting more than specific policies.
Well, I guess that's why they're in the Upper Peninsula in the first place. So does the Air Force Base up there have an effect on the local landscape, or is it too small to make a huge difference? I'm not near it, so I wouldn't know. I worked in the prisons for a bit, so I could tell you about the prisons up here, but I don't know anything about the Air Force. Yeah, I mean, please tell us about the prisons in the Upper Peninsula.
Technically, there's only one prison, the only which I have not been in, which is in Marquette. But I did work in the correctional facilities, and they're very depressing places, and they are very diverse.
Are they the most diverse places on the peninsula?
It depends on whether you count Native Americans as diversity.
I mean, I'm from a place where there aren't many of them, so yeah, I'd say that's diversity.
Well, the most diverse places is the various reservations and casinos.
Oh, are there a lot of reservations on the Upper Peninsula?
Yes, it's like I said, a large portion of the population is Native American. There's a lot. There's lots of casinos up here, lots of reservations. If you drive down the highway, you'll see advertisements for casinos everywhere. They're all run by tribes. Once again, because the Upper Peninsula is kind of like the forgotten woods of the north of the Midwest, a lot of the Indians were shoved here.
Hmm. They were pushed up there without necessarily giving them like huge tracts of land.
From what I gather, yes, they certainly have a higher percentage of the Upper Peninsula than they do in the Lower Peninsula.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that would make sense. It is farther away from where the westward expansion was kind of growing. What has it been like for the Upper Peninsula with regards to the Jeet menace?
I've not dealt with them that much. However, well, as I said, I'm a union electrician. I am currently working at a natural gas compression station, and which is 2.5 hours drive from my house. So I am staying. I'm staying at a campground now, but I was staying in a motel before, and I got a motel that was run by a white guy, so I did not run into this issue. But a lot of my coworkers got motels that were run by Indians and complained that they were being screwed over. Specifically that the white people who used to own the motel got it bought out by some Indians who then proceeded to, while pretending to be Christians, screw them over in a very unchristian way.
Okay. So, I mean, has that affected the... I know that this is kind of a, has that kind of affected their ability to do business? I mean, I know that, and a lot of the viewers know that a lot of these Indian-run places are purchased with our tax dollars through the SBA. But if nobody's going there because they have a bad reputation in town, I can imagine that might harm them.
The problem is that there are not that many lodging opportunities up here, and there's big jobs. There's lots and lots of construction work going on in the UP, and so people have to stay places. So as of now, they're able to just prey on out-of-towners.
Okay. So, there's this kind of saying, by the time you've heard of a scene, it's already moved on. And that's in regards to, cultural things, but I think it's also in regards to, the movements of people. Now, is the Upper Peninsula one of those places that looks like it's kind of on the rise for people moving there?
Yes, there's definitely people moving here. A lot more than there used to be. Some of the locals do complain about it a little bit. I complain about it despite being one of the people who moved here because I want to pull my family up here, then blow up the bridge. So I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant to the UP, but I'm the sort of immigrant who says that I wish that people from the places I fled would stop following me here.
So what are you guys doing about the Canadian border? Do you have plans for
that? Well, it's on the other side of the lake.
Well, I mean, there is South Ste. Marie.
Yes, Sault Ste. Marie. Yep.
Is that I mean, that's a way that the Canadians can get in.
Yes, that is very much a way that Canadians can get in. If I was like the Archduke of the Upper Peninsula, I could do something about that. But as is, I can mostly just scowl angrily at Canada.
Well, at least you can't see them from your front door. You're looking. It looks like you've got views of America on all sides. So
yeah, if I go down to the bottom of the peninsula and look south, I can not see Chicago across the lake, but it's there.
If you keep going in that direction, it's there.
Yeah.
Did you guys get a lot of crossover from Wisconsinites kind of fleeing upward?
In some ways, parts of the UP is more culturally similar to Wisconsin. There's definitely overlap. The part of the UP that I'm in right now actually is on Central Time rather than Eastern. because it's more economically tied to Wisconsin than it is the rest of Michigan. So we definitely have Wisconsinites coming here, though with Wisconsinites are so similar to the local Yoopers that you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference, because the sort of Wisconsinites who come here already live here.
No, they're already close to the border. Is the UP a big vacation spot?
It's a massive vacation spot for blue collar people from the Lower Peninsula. It's the vast majority of our vacationers is working class white people who many of which own cabins up here, who come up here for long weekends to hunt.
What are the winters like on the Upper Peninsula?
It really depends on where you are. As I said, the Garden Peninsula is the gentlest part of the UP, but we still... Well, when I was supposed to start this job back in February, I was delayed a week because we had a snowstorm that locked me in our property, and we had spent 3 days digging ourselves out of the snow.
I mean, that sounds pretty awesome. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I might have mentioned this on the show before, but a lot of my family's from way upstate Maine, and I absolutely love those winters. You guys are about on the same latitude as that area, so it makes a lot of sense to me. But
well,
I mean,
for us, that was a 100-year storm, supposedly. It's not. We don't usually get 3 feet of snow in a week, usually. But there are parts of the UP where they have doors on the second floor that are usable during the winter.
I mean, that's really cool to imagine. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I like that quite a bit. So the snow is hard packed enough that you could actually walk on it when it hits the ground like that.
The places, especially the Keweenaw, which is one of the because it sticks up into Lake Superior, gets the most snow. Yes, 7-8 foot of hard packed snow is the standard for winters.
I see that you avoided the Keweenaw because there's a town called Gay there. Yeah, I that makes a lot of sense to me. Living on the opposite side of the UP from that, but I mean,
we mostly avoided the snow.
the area around there, obviously a lot of French names to a lot of the towns. Does that kind of linger in the confessional heritage? Are there more Catholics than Protestants up there, or how does that break out?
There's a lot. Actually, the biggest ethnic groups are Swedes, Finns, Danes, and Norwegians.
Interesting.
The climate here is actually extremely similar to Scandinavia. And a huge number of Scandinavians moved here. For example, the Finns especially are numerous. Saunas, as they say, are very common around here because of all the Finns who absolutely adore them. So lots of Lutherans more than anybody else, actually.
That is actually unexpected. So what I'm gathering from what you've told me so far about the Upper Peninsula is that if our guys want to move there, they can expect to find a place that has about the demographic makeups of the 1980s. Plus, there are a bunch of tall Aryan wife material running around as well.
There are some very attractive Finnish girls in the cities. I have, or in some parts of the state, I've been told, but unfortunately, I don't see women.
Of course, you're married.
No, as in literally, I don't see women because I am a union electrician who spends my time on job sites that are 98% male and then go home to my swamp.
I mean, again, based, it's a shame that you have to be on job sites where there are women making up that 2%. But I imagine most of the time they're representing the customer.
Most of the time, they're safety.
Oh, that's even worse. Okay.
Though at my current job, I have safety wrapped around my finger. So
Uh-oh. I hope your wife's not listening. That might make her a little jealous. Do you do you
my wife is the opposite of jealous. My wife actually wishes I knew women because my wife wishes that we were Mormons in the sense of allowing polygamy, but that's not going to happen. But my wife is a very strange woman.
I mean, dude, you're just selling the Upper Peninsula to the listener. I mean, this is a complete aside, but like, you say that the state government doesn't really care that much. Do you guys actually have OSHA reps up there?
Yes, but that's mostly because we're union job sites.
So does the union bring them in?
The sort of contractors who hire union bring them in.
The sort of yeah, I guess that makes sense. They got more money to throw around, so they can pay the fines if they have to.
Yes. The issue is, of course, union work is a lot more expensive. Union workers, a lot of them still have Democrat instincts in the sense of voting for Democrats, even if they're not really Democratic minded in any real sense. But they still vote for Democrats because, well, Democrats are pro-union and they never change their opinion. But union workers, even though they're overpaid and can be a bit of divas, the quality control is extremely important. And the non-union simply has no quality control. And I'm sure you've all seen nightmare scenarios of very shoddy construction.
Yeah, I've been on jobs with that kind of stuff, having an open shop myself. Do you guys still say 8 for 8 in a journeyman-like manner, or was that an older time?
I've heard that saying, though here in the UP, 10-hour days are a lot more common, mostly because this place is so far apart and all the jobs are so far away from where people live that people would much rather work 4 10s than 5 8s.
No, that makes sense, especially if you're spending 2 hours to get 2 or 4 or 5 hours. You said people are sleeping near where they work.
I am, because it's a 2.5 hour trip one way to get home.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a day, especially because you're not getting paid for the travel time, I'm sure.
And gas time is expensive.
Oh yeah, that is actually something I was wondering. When you get to these more remote places, typically gas prices are, very, very high.
Well, right now, the gas, the cheapest I've seen it on Monday driving here was $3.90 a gallon, but this town that I'm in right now is $4.20.
Okay, I mean that's not much different than, actually that's cheaper than what it is in a lot of places of New England. How does that work? Do you guys get your gas smuggled in from Canada?
I have not paid attention to the logistics on where our gasoline comes from. I just know that there's a good deal of industry up here in the sense that there is mining and lots of shipping. So lots of pipelines go through here too.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like you guys have towns named after iron. So is that still like the major mineral that's being ripped out of the ground there?
As far as I know, it's iron and copper.
Interesting. I know you work with a lot of that. Now this is a question I don't really expect an answer to, but do you know if the Upper Peninsula, after they mine that stuff, do they have smelters there?
Well, they used to have smelters. I don't know. I think they still do, but not like they used to. For example, On the Garden Peninsula, there's a historical town named Fayette, which used to be an iron smelter, which was abandoned back during the early part of the 20th century, and then in the mid part of the 20th century turned into a national park. And so you can go and visit the old iron smelters there, and the various houses and quarters that the workers and the people in the town and the company management all lived in. It's the major tourist attraction in our area.
Interesting. That is pretty cool. Do you know how long ago that went out? Was that something like after the war?
I don't remember the exact timeline, but I'm pretty sure it dried up in before World War One, really.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So it was even basically at the end of the 19th century.
Yeah, I think it mostly died at the end of the Gilded Age, but I don't remember exactly. So, which actually, speaking of that, one of the things that our chapter is intending to do this summer is that we're going to do a homeschooling event with all of our families, where we're all going to do reports on 19th century life and meet and have a picnic at Fayette and deliver all of our family reports on various aspects of 19th century life for the other homeschooled kids to look over.
Oh, that sounds awesome. I mean, I'm a recent father myself, and I'm thinking about what the future looks like. It looks like a homeschooling collective like that. So, you guys have enough kids between the families to do something like that?
We have more kids than adults.
I mean, that's the way it should always be.
Ugh. So most of the kids at this point, a lot of them are babies because we have a lot of recent couples that got married and started having babies recently. So
yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a good segue into what the demographics of the chapter are like. You said obviously a lot of families.
Well, as far as our membership, we basically have the formal members and then the associates. The former members is we have 8 men, which me, my dad, Mr. Long, 2 of his sons, and 3 of the Weaver boys, I believe. So, but Mr. Weaver, for instance, is associated with and does stuff with us, but he didn't want to formally join because he doesn't formally join things because he's a bit of a mystic type who
he's not
doesn't like organization.
Yeah, and we get a couple of those floating around various chapters that they want to be involved, but they don't want to be involved.
Yeah, he doesn't like organization.
So you guys are building like a serious clan up there.
Ideally, we're very nascent right now. First step is that my dad needs to get enough work for Cedar Ridge Electrics that I can go work for my own company as opposed to working for other people's companies.
Right. I mean, has your father been in this long?
My father is a union electrician. When he moved up to the UP, he was scouted to be the state electrical inspector for the UP. He did that for a couple years. Then he retired and with me founded Cedar Ridge Electric. So he has lots and lots of electrical experience, but not very much experience in running a company. My brother is more running the company because my brother, he went to work on the business side of various electrical contractors. But the company is very new. Our hope is that when the company gets a little bit bigger and we get more business, we're pulling in some of our friends to work for us. Dad's already scouting one of the Long boys as a potential pre-apprentice to work for us. So we intend to slowly build up our company from an electrical company to a proper construction company, step by step, hire all of our friends, and build the peninsula.
I mean, that's it's amazing. You guys already have a foothold, and you've got the space to do it in. I mean, Godspeed to you. That's this is one of the things about the OGC is how many different OGCs there are, depending on what chapter you're in. And this is probably, I'd probably say this is the most wholesome chapter. It's exactly what I'm hoping to see in the future. Hopefully, the entire Garden Peninsula will be yours by the end of the 2030s.
Well, my screen name is in Gimli von Garden for a reason.
You're gonna have to delve the mines to gain the experience to do what you need to do. Or I guess in this case, just crawl spaces.
Yeah, crawl spaces where I run electrical wires. But the Gimli is more of the reference to physically, the big beard is my most noticeable feature. And the Von Garden is I do have delusions of aristocracy in the distant future.
Well, I mean, after reading Leaving a Legacy, I also have those same delusions. So you're in good company, my friend.
Well,
so we're coming up on the hour, and I absolutely love the picture you're painting. Give a quick sales pitch for your guys to come, for your brothers around the country who are looking to relocate somewhere. Give them the sales pitch for the Upper Peninsula.
Well, the very quick sales pitch is you see that my avatar right there?
Sure do.
That is a drone photo of my property.
I definitely see the wetlands and the trees.
So the sales pitch is that if you have more muscle than money, if you have money and nowhere to put it, and if you like hardship and wresting things out of the wilderness, then we may have a position for you. Right now, it's kind of miserable, but maybe after a few decades, it'll be awesome.
I mean, that's a great pitch. Investing in the future is what we're here for. And I love having people like you on, Josiah, who are taking that very seriously, even if it's for your own ends, which is exactly what what all great men who get things done, that's their motivation. People aren't motivated by ideology.
Well, I do have lots of ideology, but my ideology is whatever ends up with me living in a walkable town where all my family and friends are, and I never have to leave.
Perfect. 2 questions for you before we leave. First question, what are we going to do about all those windmills?
They are a massive eyesore, and they are all over this freaking peninsula. But they are here, so in the short term, I would just use them to generate power and then not replace them when they fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, you can't reuse those pads anyway, so unless those farmers want to slowly cover their entire property in concrete pads, yeah, whatever. I was hoping you'd go with something a little more colorful, but hey, maybe one day.
The thing is, the more I'm thinking as far as colorful is that because we have windmills and solar farms on the property, on the peninsula, in the case of a collapse, we would just steal the power.
Yeah, I mean, as long as those turbines keep turning and you don't have to rewind the motors.
Well,
man.
As it turns out, I do in fact know electricians.
Yeah, but do you know any ones who are good at rewinding motors?
Well, I'm not, but I might be able to find some.
Yeah, so look at that. The country falls into a state of chaos. Upper Peninsula inherits the earth.
Well,
right.
It already is kind of a state of chaos up here, so.
Up there or just anywhere?
Well, a chaos in the sense of anarchic. Lots of ne'er-do-wells hiding in the woods, not wanting people to mess with them.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. You send your teenage son out to go camping, but you make sure he brings his rifle.
Mostly because of the bears, though,
Yeah, that makes sense too. All
and
right,
wolves.
one last question. Any piece of advice for your brothers across the nation?
Ah, so my big piece of advice is this. When Hernando Cortez landed in Mexico, his men wanted to leave. He burnt the boats and they conquered the Mexico. My advice is this: leave no options but victory.
Wow. Amen, my brother. That is a great note to leave on. All right. Thank you, Josiah. And thank you, Founders Garden, for a little look into what's going on in the Upper Peninsula. I hope you all found that as interesting as I did. Be sure to join us tomorrow and every Thursday for Pony Express Radio, where the greatest in slop infotainment is delivered into your trough, and we can make sure that all of our brothers are properly nourished. American Spirits every Monday. If there is one important show out of the three shows we do, that's the one. Learn history, learn what it is to be an American, learn the philosophical, moral, and legal framework that built up America into her greatness that was on American Spirits. Be sure to tune in next week for, you know what? We just voted on that chapter. Maybe they'll be on. Maybe it'll be